Take a deep breath. Not the kind you take when someone tells you to calm down. The kind you take when something inside you already knows the truth, but hasn't named it yet, because there's something you don't see, or maybe you do. Maybe you felt it in the pauses, in the way certain eyes linger just a second too long, in the way someone almost says something and then doesn't. You've mistaken it for uncertainty, for mixed signals, for distance, but it isn't indifference, it's fear, and not the kind that runs away from something small, the kind that stands at the edge of something powerful and hesitates. Because loving you is not casual, it's not light, it's not a passing distraction. And somewhere, quietly, someone knows that. They feel it when you walk into a room without trying to own it. When you speak softly, but people lean in. When you choose your words carefully, not because you're unsure, but because you understand the weight of them. You don't rush, you don't chase, you don't beg to be seen. And that's exactly why you are. Your quiet strength isn't loud, it doesn't demand, it doesn't compete, it observes, it understands, it holds. And that kind of strength does something to people. It unsettles them. Not because it's harsh, but because it's real. You see, most people are used to noise. They're used to loud affection, loud promises, loud exits. They know how to handle chaos. They know how to dance with unpredictability. But you are steady, and steady feels permanent. Steady feels like depth. Steady feels like accountability. When someone senses that loving you would require honesty, consistency, emotional presence, they don't feel bored, they feel exposed. Because being loved by you would mean being seen, fully, and you don't look at people the way others do. You don't just see what's on the surface. You notice the pauses between sentences, the subtle shifts in tone, the hesitation behind confidence. You read what isn't said. And that's beautiful, but it's also terrifying to someone who isn't used to being understood. There is someone who admires you from a careful distance. They tell themselves stories about why they shouldn't step closer. They say you're intimidating, that you're hard to read, that you're too independent. But those are softer words for something deeper. They're afraid of what loving you would require of them, because you don't love halfway, you don't attach recklessly, you don't give your heart to fill silence. When you love, you choose, and choice carries responsibility. You've spent so much of your life being the strong one, the composed one, the one who understands before reacting, the one who forgives quietly, the one who carries more than they show. You think that makes you less romantic, less magnetic, less desired, but it doesn't. It makes you rare, and rare things aren't approached casually, they're approached carefully, with trembling hands, with doubt, with awareness of value. Someone has felt the weight of your calm, the way you don't flinch when conversations get deep, the way you don't crumble when emotions surface, the way you sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. And they realize something. Loving you would mean growing. It would mean showing up without mass. It would mean consistency when things aren't easy. It would mean not running when intimacy gets real. And that's where their fear lives. Not in you, in themselves. You've wondered why they seem close, but not quite there. Why their energy pulls in, then retreats. Why their words almost confess, then redirect. You thought maybe you imagined it. Maybe you misread the signs, but you didn't. They admire your restraint, the way you don't overshare for attention, the way you don't chase validation, the way you can sit in silence without panicking. You make space feel safe, and safety is powerful. But safety also asks something in return. It asks honesty. It asks vulnerability. It asks someone to lay down their armor, and not everyone is ready for that. Some people prefer love that feels like a game, unpredictable, low stakes, easily abandoned. But you feel like a home someone would have to commit to building, brick by brick, day by day. And that's not scary because it's heavy. It's scary because it's meaningful. You've mistaken their hesitation for disinterest. But what if it's reverence? What if they sense that once they step into your world, they won't be able to pretend anymore? Because you don't entertain half-truths, you don't cling to inconsistency, you don't beg someone to stay. Your silence isn't weakness, it's discernment. and discernment forces people to confront themselves. There is someone who replays conversations with you, someone who remembers the way you listened without interrupting, the way you responded without judgment, the way you held eye contact just long enough to make them feel seen. They felt it, that pull, that quiet gravity, and it scared them. Because loving you wouldn't just be passion, it would be reflection, it would be growth, it would be accountability, and growth requires courage. You, without trying, hold a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see in it. You've been told you're hard to figure out, but the truth is, you're not confusing. You're careful. You don't open every door. You don't hand out access. You don't mistake attention for connection. And someone knows that if they ever truly had you, they'd have to protect that privilege. Not out of fear of losing you, but out of respect for what you are. Your distance? It isn't coldness. It's wisdom. Your hesitation? It isn't doubt. It's depth. You think your quiet nature makes you invisible, but to the right person, it feels like standing in front of something sacred. And sacred things aren't rushed. They're approached with trembling. There is someone who feels small around your emotional maturity. Not because you make them feel inferior, but because you remind them of what they haven't healed yet. You don't argue loudly. You don't manipulate. You don't play games. You communicate. And communication is confronting to someone who's used to chaos. You don't explode when hurt, you withdraw. And that withdrawal speaks volumes. It says, I value myself. It says, I don't chase what doesn't choose me. It says, I will not shrink to make you comfortable. And that quiet boundary, it commands respect. Someone admires that more than you realize. They admire how you can love deeply without losing yourself, how you can care without clinging, how you can walk away without theatrics. They see your strength, and they know loving you would require matching it, not overpowering it, not controlling it, matching it. And that requires growth. That requires readiness. You are not too much. You are not too distant. You are not too independent. You are emotionally aware. You are intentional. You are self-contained in a way that feels unshakable. And someone who hasn't built that within themselves feels it. They feel the difference. They feel the gap between where you stand and where they are. And instead of stepping up, they step back, not because they don't want you, but because they're afraid of failing you, afraid of not being enough for someone who sees so clearly, afraid of being held to a standard they've never had to meet before. You deserve someone who doesn't just admire your strength, but rises to it. Someone who doesn't romanticize you from afar, but walks toward you with courage. Because loving you isn't casual, it's intentional, it's layered, it's real. And real love requires presence. You have spent so long being the safe space for others, the grounded one, the emotionally steady one, the one who thinks before speaking, the one who feels deeply but doesn't dramatize it. And somewhere, someone watches that and thinks, if I step into their life, I have to mean it. And that realization is heavy, because you are not a temporary experience. You are not a distraction. You are not a placeholder. You are someone's turning point, and turning points are intimidating. You've questioned your softness, wondered if you should be louder, more expressive, more obvious. But your softness is not fragile. It's controlled. It's intentional. It's powerful in its restraint. And that restraint makes people pause because it signals self-respect. You don't rush into affection. You don't flood someone with intensity to secure them. You let things unfold. And unfolding requires patience. Not everyone has that. There is someone who feels drawn to your calm like it's oxygen, but they're used to holding their breath, used to chaos, used to inconsistency, and your steadiness feels unfamiliar. It feels like responsibility. It feels like depth. It feels like something that could change them. And change is frightening when you've been comfortable staying the same. You are not hard to love. You are serious to love. There's a difference. Hard implies impossible. Serious implies meaningful. Loving you would require showing up when it's inconvenient, communicating when it's uncomfortable, staying when it's easier to leave, and someone knows they aren't ready for that yet, so they admire you quietly, from the edges, from a safe distance where they can feel your presence, without confronting their own limitations. But that doesn't make you less worthy. It makes you advanced, emotionally fluent, grounded. You've turned your pain into awareness, your past into wisdom, your silence into strength. And someone sees that. They see how you don't react impulsively, how you don't weaponize vulnerability, how you don't beg to be understood. You simply are. And being that steady in a world addicted to chaos is rare. You don't need to shrink your depth to make someone comfortable. You don't need to chase someone who is intimidated by growth. You don't need to prove that your calm hides passion.